Hello, beautiful people. The last time I would have shown my face on here would have been about 4 months ago when I had just finally completed my final examinations at the University of the West Indies. And since then, I guess you could say I've been taking a bit of a vacation, although I use that word very loosely. So in the next about 30 seconds to a minute, I'll try to catch you up on what I've been doing over this vacation. But if you're not interested, you can just skip ahead to this timestamp. Since I completed my final examinations at UWI, I have applied to several jobs. I have been denied from several jobs. I have obtained an offer for a health tech fellowship program. I have left the country, went overseas, did a whole 6-week health tech fellowship program with a company in the UK. I came back, I received an offer to start working at the Supreme Court, and I am now a judiciary software engineer there. And in addition to that, I decided to start my own software development company. And finally, last Saturday, which is the icing on top of the cake, I would have officially graduated from the University of the West Indies, did the whole ceremony, the whole handshaking thing, walked the stage, got my little scroll, my little thing, and essentially said, so long, farewell, sayonara to the University of the West Indies after the completion of my Bachelor of Science Computer Science with a minor in Management, first class honors. So, all of these things have happened in the past 4 months. If you're interested in hearing any further details about anything I would have just mentioned, feel free to let me know and we can talk about it in more detail. However, for today's video, I want to focus specifically on one of those ventures, which is Tessera Studios. And this is a company which I have been working very hard on with Isaiah to try to get the company up and off the ground. And today, we are going to be focusing specifically on the company's website. Of course, since we're a software design and development company, we need to show that our software is everything that we're advertising it to be. So our company website is very important, very critical to us, and we've been working really hard on it. Specifically, today, I feel like there's one part of the design that I am unpleased with, and this is not because it looks bad or anything, it's just not fully on brand. So I have an idea, and today we're going to execute it and elevate it from a very basic, very blah design to something that's 10 times more Tessera. So with that being said, let's get into it. Before you judge me too harshly, this is our what sets us apart section, and this is supposed to be a lot shorter in terms of height, but to hide some of the other information that I have on the page before the official company launch, I have made it a lot taller, so it's floating a bit awkwardly in the middle of the screen. However, that does not save or excuse it from the fact that this is not setting us apart. This section is supposed to really communicate like why you should choose Tessera Studios. But right now, this is just like 5 blocks on a page, and it's not giving what it's supposed to give, as the youth would say. So what we're gonna do is revamp this entirely. And I have a vision in my head. I just need to put it on paper. And this is going to be a moment where designer Tarika is going to be fighting with developer Tarika, because I can see already what the vision is, and I know that it's really good in terms of design, but in terms of development, but it's fine because I'm doing it to myself. So let's go. What I really want to do differently for this What Sets Us Apart section is to really capture the essence of Tessera Studios. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the company or why we chose that name, a tessera is a small tile in a larger mosaic. So we chose the name because we really resonated with the idea of bringing together small, beautifully crafted pieces to make one larger, more beautiful entire project. Something I've been doing a lot is taking this Tessera logo and putting it into kind of a pattern which makes a larger mosaic. I've been using this a lot in the branding, and I think it really captures the essence of Tessera Studios, building your vision one piece at a time. So we have those small individual pieces that come together to make something a lot greater. We really want to capture this essence, and to do that, I think we can do something really cool. A lot of the branding for the company uses a hexagon shape like this. So instead of making a bunch of small versions of this which are going to clutter the screen, let's say that this is our screen, and This is our hexagon. Instead of having a bunch of smaller elements, I think we can have this really large and really centralized, and then have these slightly smaller, still the same shape versions over off to the side. And these would be a little bit more fadey. These would be partially off of the screen and we can just like cycle through them. So I'll go through this first card and then this one will come up here and replace this one. So it would be kind of that loop motion. It would add some dimension to the page. It would not be too overwhelming and it should be able to allow the user to consume the information in a smaller and more digestive form rather than taking in a whole bunch and consuming absolutely nothing. Information overload. So what I'm actually going to do with this is I'm going to create a hexagon shape. Now we have our hexagon, which was slightly more difficult to obtain than I'd like to admit, but it is here and it is finally symmetrical. So what we're going to do is make this the center of attention, and then afterwards we can add our two side pieces, if you will. Are we seeing the vision yet? Because I'm seeing the vision. I think we're seeing the vision. So what I'm gonna do is add some of the text and then we'll start to look at some of the colors and the way that we can make it a little bit more punchy. Now I think we're running into a completely different issue where this is starting to look cool, but this feels very small and minute and empty in the middle of the sphere. So I'm thinking maybe we need some imagery, an icon, something like that to kind of break up the flow a bit. I think this is making more sense. What I'm gonna do is try to shrink down the size of the actual hexagon a bit. I want it to be impactful, but I don't want it to be overwhelming, and I don't want it to feel like it's taking up too much space on the screen. So if it is a case where this is starting to feel really small and empty, even though I feel like it's a reasonable amount of information, I think I should, I think I should, I think I should shrink everything that's around it. So let's try to do that. I don't want too much of the other modules or blocks or tiles, whatever you want to call them. I don't want too much of those to be visible. So I'm going to make this section a lot smaller in terms of its height. And just by doing that, I think we are going to make this something really, really cool. Now that I think we have a much better layout than before, we'll go ahead and start styling. To try to keep on brand, we're using some of those purple colors we would have seen in the company's logo. They're also in the brand kit, but you guys haven't seen that, so just trust me on it. And as mentioned, we want those side modules to be slightly less opaque than the foreground one to make the foreground stand out a little bit more.
In addition, we'll add some dimension with some highlights on the edges. And now we're adding a subtle glow to the background of these tiles to make them pop just a little bit more. And while the white looks cool and it does help in terms of standing out, I do think it would look 10 times more cohesive if we make that white a purple color to blend right back in with the background and add a seamless transition. And now a few finishing touches. And with that, we have our final What Sets Us Apart carousel. Isn't that 10 times better? Sleek, modular, modern, and it helps you to focus on what is presented right in front of you, one single tile at a time. And just to remind you, this is where we started, and this is where we ended.
So with that being said, we've completed our What Sets Us Apart carousel, and I personally think it's 10 times better than what we started with. I do think there is still room for improvement. Of course, no design is ever perfect, but I do think it is a lot better than where we started, and that really just emphasizes the importance of iterating and going over designs and just making sure that, at the end of the day, the client is pleased, except in this case, I'm the client and I'm a designer, so I'm never going to be pleased, but it's good enough. I hope you guys enjoyed designing with me. Please let me know your feedback on the design down below. I always love hearing new areas for improvement, so that would be very, very helpful. Other than that, please go follow Tessera on, I would say, all the socials, but it's just LinkedIn. And you can follow all of my accounts in the ending card as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, this has been Technically T. I won't be gone for 4 months again. Bye!